Welcome to I Want That, getting the dates, love, and life you crave. I'm your host, Liza Cooper, a love and dating coach and founder of the online group workshop Find Love After 50. My story of finding love and, more importantly, reawakening all the parts of me I thought were gone forever after 50 and after divorce went viral on social media because it resonated for so many. Join me in my podcast as I interview couples, singles, and experts to uncover what love means in all of its beautiful forms, including the hurdles and how to overcome them. I'll also share the questions strangers have asked me on the streets of New York City about dating and relationships, where I'm known as the love coach. Together, we'll have powerful conversations that light the path to getting everything you want in life, especially in matters of the heart. And in this first season, season 1, The Bachelor Files, we're going to start with episode 2, where I get to do something that everybody dreams of. I think it's everyone's secret fantasy, to interview your ex about what went right and what went wrong in your relationship. And for this bachelor, why he broke my heart. He's featured in my story that went viral, and he was the first boyfriend after my divorce. And so I have a long discussion with him in 5 episodes about our relationship, what went right, what went wrong, and we start out with our perfect first date. Before we show my interview with the bachelor, listen to a quick clip of a stranger asking me how to make a woman laugh on the streets of New York City, where I'm known as the love coach.
What's your most burning question about love, dating, and relationships?
Good question. I have no clue.
If you could ask any, because I'm a dating coach, so if you could ask any question you
How
want.
do you make a woman laugh?
How do you make a woman laugh?
Laugh, yes.
What a wonderful question. That's the best question I've ever heard. I would say that one way to make women laugh is to take them to a comedy show.
Okay.
I dated a guy who, I don't think he was so funny. He wasn't so funny. He was more serious. And I didn't mind that. But he took me to comedy shows, so we would laugh together. And the comedians did the job of making us laugh. It's really fun.
Hi, handsome.
Hey, lovely Liza.
Good to see you. When did we last see each other? I think last year.
I think we saw each other last summer. We had like a pizza dinner and I was in relationship crisis.
Yes.
I needed love coaching.
But that was sort of like a turning point for us, I think, in terms of you reaching out for as a consigliere in love. So I don't know if you want to share anything about yourself, but if there's anything you'd like to share, your age, your height, whatever.
Well, certainly not my height. We wouldn't want that to be public. I live in New York City and I'm 58. I will give you that. That's all you get.
That's all I get? Wow. Well, I know a lot more.
I'm very shy.
Yeah. So we know each other.
We do indeed.
Can you talk about how we met?
Sure. So we met on OkCupid.
Yeah.
I was perusing one night different profiles and I came across yours and I reached out to you. I remember specifically, I think what I said. I think I said something like you had me at Meet the Press, Liberal Meet the Press and Handmaid's Tale, if I remember.
That's right.
And,
Yeah.
I mean, it's sometimes you see a profile and you swipe right, but you don't necessarily dig deep into it. And yours, I dug a little deeper in, and so it's nice when you can reach out to somebody and have specific things in their profile that you feel like, okay, there's some connection there that you can refer to. It's not just, hey, what's up? You don't see somebody that would respond to, hey, what's up?
No, I definitely want it. I want it, but I'm surprised. I don't think you would actually ever greet a woman in that way.
No, I don't think that's ever been done. The litmus test should be, I think, yeah, if you can't really connect to somebody with something in their profile beyond a picture or who you're cute.
And what do you think of that intro that you gave me, which was, just for the audience, I'll repeat, you had me at Liberal, Meet the Press, and Handmaid's Tale, which were all things that I noted about myself.
Oh, that's definitely a green flag intro. I think it suggested that I was responding to you holistically and not to just your pictures, which of course were very pretty too.
Thank you. And we're both missing Meet the Press right now to have this
We are
interview.
missing the press. I had to turn it off, but it seemed right. I wouldn't turn it off for anything but this podcast.
Aw, well, thank you. And I actually think your intro was kind of perfect. It's as a dating coach, it's something I recommend that people sort of really pull out the things that they connect with and make a statement or a comment on that. And it was also a reference to a film, right? A Tom Cruise film you had me at.
Oh, right. Jerry Maguire.
Yeah.
Yes,
Jerry
I
Maguire.
stole that line from Jerry Maguire. Yeah.
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 And
Well,
you're a
no doubt.
cinephile.
Steal a charming line.
Yeah. Well, you adjusted it.
I adjust.
Um,
Yeah.
but I think that also showed who you were and you're a cinephile. So it sort of had all of that in it.
Yes.
Um,
And we had a memorable second date at a movie.
yeah, we're going to talk about that one. That
Well,
was our nightmare
that
date.
was our
That was our,
nightmare. We got our nightmare date behind us after the second date. Yeah.
yeah. So some of um some of the audience may have heard of you only as the Bachelor in
Yes.
my winning Moss story that went viral last
Mhm.
year.
Yes.
Um, and just to summarize for those who haven't watched it, it was really my story of finding love after divorce and then really finding myself. And you were the Bachelor that I found love with.
I was the bachelor. Yes. That is me.
Oh, so fun to talk about this. So, do you remember our first date?
I do remember our first date. I took you, or we met at uh, a place called, I think it was called The Place. And admittedly, it was a place where I would take a lot of first dates, admittedly. And it was funny because like I would get to the point where I was dating a lot at that time, and if the woman went to the restroom, I would ask the bartender. At some point, I said, like, you guys know that I'm always going on first dates here, right? And they said, oh yeah, we know. And I said, well, I'd sometimes say, well, how's the body language going? I'd get their input. But I do remember you walking in, and I initially thought you were very pretty, and I remember just the conversation feeling easy. I don't know if I remember specifically what we talked about. I think that you ordered a White Russian.
Good memory.
Yeah,
Good
yeah.
memory.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
don't get that order a lot. And yeah, I remember there being good dialogue on kind of a multiple different topics, just the right amount of innuendo that was, a little sexy without being off-putting. And yeah, I felt like we had a connection and an attraction, like from the get-go. We sat at the bar.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I didn't remember it was called The Place, but it's good to know that you brought lots of first dates there.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I
Well,
didn't, that's
you know what it is?
definitely your
Like,
style.
there's enough surprises on a first date that I feel like I don't want the restaurant, the loudness, or I don't want that to be a variable.
Yeah, that makes sense.
There's enough kind of unknowns with the first date.
Yeah, no, you want to depend on a good environment and you knew it to be trustworthy in that
A lot
way.
of things now.
And I remember walking in like this was my first date after my marriage.
Yeah, and I don't know if I think you may have told me that night, but I knew that early on.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't think it was that night that I shared. I was too embarrassed to tell you
Okay.
that.
Yeah.
I think you said something like you've probably been on a bunch of dates, maybe three or four, and I was like, hmm.
Yeah.
And you were like, is this your
Not,
first date?
when
You
in
might
doubt,
have said that.
not in smile. I might have said that. I can sometimes ask questions I shouldn't. No filter. No filter.
And you had like forsaken a celebrity's daughter for that night. Like you had sort of, I don't know, chosen me.
The celebrity's daughter. I think I know who I'm talking about, and obviously we can't give names, but the daughter of a famous musician that I was set up with by a friend.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
And you said that you chose me over her. And I was like, whoa, that's,
I
that was very exciting. You
don't know.
showed all your cards. And
I make that mistake. Yeah.
I was really nervous because this was my first date in like 11 years or something. Um and my girlfriend told me to like buy a whole new outfit. So I had like this green shirt and a new coat. I mean, I was like really it was kind of a ridiculous outfit, but it was all new.
Was your coat kind of fluffy around the collar?
Yes.
I remember it, like kind of white, fluffy-ish.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I can't believe you remember that. I mean, this is going back some years, but it
Yeah.
was a white down coat with like a
Okay.
big fur, a fake fur collar,
Right.
or hood. So I was like very wintry, and I think it was like freezing, like
Yeah.
beyond
It's
freezing.
like January, February.
Yeah, February, I think.
Yeah.
Um, and I saw you at the bar, and you were kind of I saw like the curve of your back, but yeah, you sort of turned around and I remember you said later, did you see me? I was like dark and brooding. And I was like, yeah, like that's how you were.
Did I seem
And
dark and brooding?
yeah,
Yeah, well, I was, nervous and uptight. So dark and brooding, nervous, they're adjacent emotions.
Jason, totally. And the thing that I remember is, yeah, you moved us from a table to the bar. Um, because you wanted to be closer somehow. And it felt like the lighting was wrong at the table. Like you were kind of like, very idiosyncratic.
Well, I think sitting at a bar on a first date is a better vibe. It feels a little less pressured and a little looser.
Yeah, no, it was nice. And we started with drinks, but then you started ordering food. And I
Yeah.
remember that. And we were both germaphobes actually, and we
Mm.
still are,
Still am, yeah.
but we were eating out of the same plate. I remember saying something like, are we like trading backwash now? And there was like an intimacy to that because we were sharing food out of the same plate on the first date. Like that was to me, I was like, oh, he likes me, you know?
Okay, I didn't really think about it there. I think I was just really hungry. My germophobia really kicks in when someone has the cold. So I'm not, if I'm not detecting a stuffed up nose, I'm open to the sharing of the plate, but everybody's germophobia is
Oh,
manifest.
interesting.
Yeah.
And I'm not into sharing food, but I did with you.
Okay.
Um,
I
and
didn't
so
realize that was, yeah, okay.
and I think you walked me to the subway that night. Um, and you sent me a text message after that became sort of iconic, the emoji that you sent. I think you wrote "You're good company." You were good company, and
I-
you had an emoji. Do you remember what emoji that was?
Well, I don't know if I remember the emoji that night, but I do remember us having two emojis that became kind of a thing. Was it the surfer guy emoji?
For you and the mermaid for me.
Or married for you, yeah.
Yeah,
Or
we
that
sort of
meets the mermaid.
yeah, but
Yeah.
you signed off with a tulip, which was
After the first text?
yeah,
Wow, that's very forward.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Hey,
Yeah, there was
I
definitely
had a good time.
chemistry.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it
A
was
tulip,
good.
which later
Um,
appeared in a song that I wrote about you. A tulip. Yeah,
yeah, you did write a song and I want to hear more about that.
yeah.
So, um, so then you invited me to a second date. I think it was the second date, which
Yes.
sounded just amazing. What was the second date?
In theory, it was really amazing. It didn't play out that way.
Thank you for tuning in to I Want That, The Bachelor Files, episode 2, The Perfect Date, which I think really just illustrated chemistry. So whether that happens on the first date or the fifth date, sometimes it takes longer. I think that's what chemistry looks like. Mutual attraction, there's a flow to conversation, ease, naturalness to everything you discuss and things that are in common. And that's chemistry. And it's certainly nice to have that, even if it doesn't happen right away. So tune in next for episode 3, The Nightmare Date, which was our second date. And it was a nightmare, probably the worst date I ever had. Did we recover? How did we navigate it? So tune into that. If you liked my podcast, I Want That, please subscribe to my channel so you know when updates are coming and new episodes drop. Also, like it, comment, and share. Thank you.